election.
Economy and crime. There are a lot of folks that are just struggling to make ends meet. If you just look, 3.5 years ago to today, there's been a 25% increase in the cost of grocery prices.
Democrats say inflation is now back under control and was caused primarily by supply and demand issues from COVID and the financial isolation of Russia. But Dobson says Congress, and more specifically Democrats, played a big part.
A way to curb inflation is certainly less government spending and spending smarter. I think we've seen reckless government spending.
Republicans statewide are excited about Dobson's candidacy. Barry Moore currently represents District 2 and won the Republican primary for new District 1. In a statement to News 5, Moore says, quote, "I'm disappointed to lose some communities in my current district, but I know they will be in great hands if we send Caroline Dobson to Congress. She will fight to secure our border, lower skyrocketing inflation, cut government red tape, and put American families first."
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now. Let's talk a little bit about inflation because the mainstream media doesn't really seem too interested in talking about that issue. Why? Because they're trying to have a personality contest. Unfortunately for them, the personalities they're backing, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, well, they're garbage. Let's just put it that way. So let's talk about actual inflation here in the great state of Alabama. You just saw Caroline Dobson and Barry Moore, United States Representative Barry Moore, talking about the District 2 race and how important that race is to control of the United States Congress. And they specifically mentioned inflation. What about Shamari Figures? That seat was drawn so Shamari Figures could win. Plain and simple. ALO2, if you're living in that district, the district was drawn to send a Democrat to Washington, D.C. to lessen the Republican majority in the United States House and possibly chip away at it and give Democrats control. That was the purpose. The entire purpose was just that. And you'll look and ask yourself, well, what are the main issues that Shamari Figures and Democrats as a whole are running on? The answer is nothing. They are running on personality. They're saying things like Donald Trump will put you in camps. They're saying things like Donald Trump is a fascist. They're not even talking about the things that actually matter. Inflation is one of those things. And how much does it matter? Well, look at this tweet from Katie Britt earlier this year. Since President Biden took office, the average Alabama household has spent $21,247 more due to inflation and currently spends $950 more per month. Now, the average American family is spending about $1,000 more a month in Alabama. It's a little bit less, but by the time this is all said and done, your family will be out $48,000 over 4 years, and that money's not coming back. Even if inflation goes down to zero, you are still in that situation where you are spending this much more money every single month with skyrocketing inflation throughout the entire Biden administration. This is a problem that hit your pocketbook, and the people who did that need to be held responsible. Katie Britt would go on in that tweet to say the following: the administration can keep trying to sell Bidenomics, but Alabama families aren't buying it. Think about that line for a second. They can try to sell Bidenomics, but Alabama families aren't buying it. You know why? Because Bidenomics means higher inflation, and they will not even say the word Bidenomics anymore. They didn't rebrand it into Harrisnomics or Figuresnomics or whatever you want to call it. They just dropped it completely. They cannot talk about the impact of Democrat policies on the economy. They just can't do it because if they do, people will say that was bad and we shouldn't have more of that. That's why you're getting a personality contest coming from Democrats right now. And on the right, you're hearing people talk about ideas. You're hearing people talk about what's actually happening in this country and what can be done about it. On one side, you have some real policy issues. And on the other side, you have a political party that cannot and will not even talk about their own policies because they know that if they do, you would never vote for them. Whether you're an ALO2, ALO7, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, wherever you're watching this, just think about that when you go to the polls and make the right decision.